What if space was not a vacuum and in fact was full of air? Chris,
Yes.
That's your cue.
Okay. So for this one, we said that so space is full of air, and I said that it's at basically 1 atmosphere, so just like the pressure that air is at on Earth at sea level. Is that what it is?
Yep, good air.
Yeah. So that was our assumption. And the first thing that came to mind when I was thinking of this question was Star Wars. So a lot of people, whenever they watch Star Wars, their one criticism is that the physics isn't accurate because, like, the space battles, the planes, or the ships or whatever, they, like, fly around and they wouldn't move like that in real life because of space and it doesn't have air. It's a vacuum. And that there's sounds and explosions and stuff, and the sounds wouldn't happen because there's no air. But I was thinking, if there is air, would it still be like that? So I wanted to look at it.
So are we going to have our first instance of fixing physics?
Maybe.
Actually, quick side note. I actually heard a really good explanation for the sound thing in Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Which was that, I have no idea if this is actually like ever, in any of the various Star Wars canon things. But I heard someone suggest that it's basically a thing that the ships, like, have radar systems or, space radar or whatever around them. And it uses sound to basically give the pilots, like, an indication of where things are.
Sonar doesn't work if there's no...
Not actually
air,
sonar, space sonar. I said space sonar, it's fine.
Space sonar doesn't work either!
Some kind of tracking of some kind. And it uses the sound.
Okay, Ben, that explanation does not work. So
you don't work. Anyway, Chris,
sense.
continue with your answer.
He's got you there, Marcus. You don't work.
Boom. Can't come back from that.
So the first thing I looked at was the sound issue. So, yeah, sound needs, like, a medium to travel through, and usually it's air for us. So if there's air in space, then yes, there will be sound. But in addition to all, like, the laser pew, pew, pew sounds, there's also the sun and stars. So
Right.
Stars, I'm just going to focus on the sun, I guess, for now. The sun emits, so it has, like, vibrations because there's, like, stuff moving around everywhere in the sun, and that generates sound.
Yeah, because it's basically made up of huge explosions.
Yeah, and normally we can't hear this sound just because there's no air. But NASA actually did a study where they studied these waves, and they, like, translated them into, like, what it would sound like if we could hear it. And I listened to it. It was like a baseline hum, and then above the hum, there was, like, oscillating pulses. It sounded kind of strange, but it was sort of relaxing.
Do we want to link that, or is that something you can throw into the podcast?
Yeah, I can link that. I'll put it down in the description.
Cool.
I'll toss it up on Facebook.
I want to listen to it mostly, is why.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, it's sort of relaxing, but how loud would it be? So I looked at how much energy the sun throws at, and the sun throws at 383 yottawatts per second of energy.
That's a Star Wars character if I've ever heard one.
Yes,
Hey, yottawatt.
yottawatt. So yottawatt is 10 to the 24th watts. It's a big number. And that translates into, if you translate into decibels, that's 290 decibels, which is super loud. But here on Earth, since we're, like, a distance away from the sun, it gets reduced a little bit. So if we could hear it from Earth, it would be about 125 decibels. And just for comparison, 120 decibels is the sound of an ambulance siren, and 130 decibels is a jackhammer. So it's, like, right in the middle of those two, and it's like a constant hum/pulsing.
Ugh.
It's not great.
Not great.
So sleep cycles might be a little thrown off.
Yeah, sleep cycles might be thrown off, and if you're in space with the space battle, you want to stay away from the stars.
Oh, it's going to be so hard to film those noises.
It's not going to be Star Wars anymore. It's going to be a stay away wars.
Stay away from the Star Wars.
So that was the one aspect of sound. We are going to have sound. It's going to be very annoying, though, during the battle.
Yeah, it's going to be all the sun, and it's going to be very annoying.
The second aspect of the space battle was the aerodynamics of the ships. So I was looking at the flight physics, and there are four main forces that act on. I looked at like an airplane as an example, and there are four forces that act on an airplane. There's gravity, lift, drag, and thrust. And the way that an airplane flies is that its wings are shaped in they're like airfoil wings. So the top is curved and the bottom is flat, and that creates like a pressure differential so that the air on the bottom is more pressure and it pushes it up and creates lift. So that's good for countering the gravity, but if there is no gravity, then you don't really need lift. So if you're in space and there's air, you don't really want the airfoil wings because you just want to go straight. You don't want to go up. So I looked at how you would turn in an airplane in space, and the way that planes normally turn, or movement in a plane in general, is that there's roll, where they adjust these things called ailerons, and that spins the plane. So like if you want to do like a barrel roll, that's roll. There's yaw, which is if you adjust the rudder, which is on the back of the wing, then it like points the nose of the plane either left or right. And then there's pitch, which points the nose up and down. So to turn, you'd think that you just need to adjust the yaw to point the nose like left or right, but that's actually not true. I think you just like spin out if you did that. How they actually turn planes is they roll the plane so that the wings are facing horizontal, and then the lift from the wings pushes it to the side.
Oh, I see. So the wind's always acting perpendicular to the wings, so if you tilt the plane, it now has a horizontal component.
Right, yeah. So I think we still do need our airfoil wings. We got rid of them, but I'm going to bring them back.
bring them back.
Bringing them back.
Now.
Yeah. So bringing them back, but the one problem is that if we have airfoil wings, we're going to have constant lift. So we're going to like constantly go up, and that's not really desirable. So I started looking at like how planes normally counteract this, and normally what they do is they just slow down and the lift reduces because they're slowing down, and then gravity takes over, and gravity is more than the lift, and then it descends. But in our case, we don't have gravity. So what we're going to have to do instead is basically just tilt the plane downward so that forward is up in the plane's orientation. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so you have to kind of end up going, eventually you have to go upside down, right? To just make your way back down the other way.
No, I don't think so. I mean, the lift is just you're gonna go at a certain angle, like forward and up, just based on how fast you're going, right?
Yeah. It won't be like severe.
Well, so I wanted to see how severe it'd actually be. I wanted to see what that angle was. So I looked at the climb rate of specifically a Boeing 747, which is 68 miles per hour. So it goes up 68 miles every hour. And the takeoff speed is 180 miles per hour. So if doing some trig, I found out that that would be 20 degrees, a 20-degree angle. But that's in the case where there's gravity. If there's no gravity, the climb rate is going to be way higher than that, and you're actually going to hit the terminal velocity of going upwards with the plane because of air resistance. So, so
the X-Wing takes off, immediately shoots like 45 degrees up, and then burns up in the space atmosphere.
Yeah, so the climb rate of the Boeing 747 caps out at 218 miles per hour. So that means that in order to go straight with the plane, we're going to need to point the nose of the airplane down 50 degrees.
So you're basically upside down.
You're past 45. So this whole space battle is doable. There's going to be this weird, annoying hum from the sun, and all the ships are going to be like pointing downwards awkwardly.
It's going to be really hard to aim.
But it's doable.
So really, advantage TIE fighters? Because they have different wings. So I think the TIE fighter is going to be much better equipped to fight in space.
Yeah, I mean, if this was a thing, they'd probably just redesign planes and not use our planes. But it's funnier using our planes.